It's my feel-good breakfast show.
And there we go with that dramatic intro again, just for JP Sebastian this morning, who's feeling all kinds of dramatic this morning. Transformers, that is what we are talking about right now.
Transforming into a false race. Continue, please.
False race, what was that?
That's my false race.
Is that your false race?
When we do the Karate Kid in South Africa, I'll be the false race. Transformers, please.
Talk to me, man. Talk to me. So
Rise of the
yes.
Beast, this is the 7th Transformers. Have you been following them? You said that...
Look, dude, I haven't been following them one off, but I've watched it and... You know, we were just speaking about it now.
If you can follow these, I'd be very impressed. Dude, like the amount of times I've tried to watch this and my brain just rolls over in my head because it really feels like a sugar rush. But Michael Bay is a special human being and he's done great violence to my mind. But this is number 7 and it's not Michael Bay. It's Stephen Caple Jr. is the director. Previously did Creed 2. Which was large.
Which was insane.
Speaking of large, let's give you a large look
at
Transformers Rise of the Beasts out today.
We've seen the Maximals in graphic novels, and we've seen them in the cartoon, but we have never seen them in live action.
We took an oath to protect the universe.
He's a really larger-than-life, likable character.
There is more to us than meets the eye.
Airazor carries this sense of regalness with her, but at the same time, she's a fighter.
Without done, let's get it. Rhinox is a beast.
Almost indestructible.
Stranger danger! Cheeto is the man. It's a sense of family with the Maximals.
Autobots and Maximals, all as one. Maximals, maximize!
Yes, please. Come on, man. A little bit of action.
I'm at my stimulus quota, seriously. I'm going to need, I don't know, CPR or something if I have to watch it. But yes, like I said, Stephen Caple Jr., so you're already in good hands. I was really blown away by the fact that Creed 1 was incredible, and then Creed 2 comes along. I feel like it almost pipped, not KO'd. Creed 1 is hard to say. But now you've got that movie in the hands, that director with this movie in his hands. So some of the other names and faces you saw there, Anthony Ramos previously did In the Heights. Dominic Fishback was in, it was Judas and the Black Messiah. Both very, very good actors. And what's so cool about Anthony Ramos, and it comes across in this too, is that he's just a dude. In his interview, he's got his Bronx accent and whatever, and in this movie, he's got a Bronx accent, but he's also just a good actor as well. So that's the first thing I'll point out, is that there's really good chemistry as far as the acting goes. I'm surprised even that by the fact that you got Mirage, this new dude who's this Porsche that can make multiples of itself and whatever. He's voiced by Pete Davidson, and usually I find the guy very annoying. He's not my cup of tea. Some people, a lot of people I don't know, Kim Kardashian loves him, I think. I don't know if they're still dating. Who knows, whatever. I might have stirred spice there, dramas. But he was really funny, and it was he was heart and soul comedy in this all. But tell you what, I suppose I should tell you what the synopsis is. You've got it set in the 90s this time around.
Okay.
And for me already, this is a bit of a problem for Michael Bay's decision of design here. And I say Michael Bay, obviously, because he's the reason why they look the way they look. They look like someone put wood glue on a stick and ran it through a scrapyard. They're not pretty to look at. These are hideous. They're the same thing he did with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They were disgusting to look at. And they look like they fell in boiled jam. And what's weird then is that you've got these characters that still don't sort of like match the 90s. The 90s was neon.
Yeah.
The 90s was like you were wearing a neon green watch and you were wearing like, I don't know, a bomber jacket that was neon orange and whatever. So there's still that sort of dullness. It's not a make or break thing for me necessarily though, because at least what Stephen Caple Jr. does better, I think, than previous direction on this is that it's relatively cogent to watch. Like it's not totally disorientating for parents necessarily if they're taking their kids. A lot of these in the past, I remember watching a great YouTube video where 3 critics are watching all 3 simultaneously, and weirdly, because these are written so formulaically, at the similar, exact same sort of golden ratio moment in the movies, they all act like they get brain freeze, because something really, I've got to be honest, happens to me too in these movies. They're so badly made that something snaps in my brain and I hit a limit kind of thing. But that said, this one actually moves a bit more fluidly, and like I said, actually is lots of fun, good comedy, and I'm pleasantly surprised that I was able to laugh at some of the, like, there was like below the belt stuff, and there was stuff for family too, but whatever, it won't like bother your kids too much below the belt stuff. But we've got another look, we've got another featurette. We spoke about the Maximals now, which is this new addition to the universe of Transformers, set in the 90s this time around, and now we're going to get a look at the cast and the characters behind it. I mentioned some of the names already, but Transformers Rise of the Beasts, here it is.
in chronological order. This is the second Transformers movie. It takes place during the 90s, shortly after Bumblebee. We find a kid struggling with how he's able to provide for his family.
My character Noah is ex-military, and I feel like I'm failing at every turn. Then I meet Mirage.
Pete Davidson is the voice of Mirage. He's kind of like the rebellious Autobot.
You looking good, man. There you go. Now we're friends.
Elena works at the museum. She's investigating something which brings Noah into her life. Who are you?
The janitor.
Really? And that kind of opens a whole new world for her.
We go on this crazy journey with the Autobots. We meet the Maximals. We meet the next level of villains.
How big can this guy be?
He eats planets. So, like, way bigger than a planet.
There's a lot of action. There's humor.
Stranger danger!
And there's a lot of heart. They're going against their biggest nemesis ever.
Everything you cared for will be consumed.
They've never faced anything like this before.
Let them come.
All right, my friend. I like it. I like it.
Give you some other considerations, and something that occurred to me recently is just speaking of Tony Jaa and Iko Uwais and the Expendables and martial arts and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of weird that movies where you have hand-to-hand melee, pugilism and whatever, that even this doesn't have a choreographer. And all of these movies that have giant robots or superheroes or whatever movies, like all the CG stuff, there's no martial arts choreographer, and maybe that's what these movies need for fights to look a bit tighter. That said, though, it is at least still fluid and sensible to watch compared to the previous ones, and probably is one of the better ones. There is a score for it, and it gets 6 out of 10 from JP Sebastian.
6 out of 10 from JP. That's not bad. It's not
for
bad.
the 7th installment, that's pretty good.
I think that's commendable, exactly. And like you said, I mean, some good voice acting in there as well.
Yeah.
We're just speaking about Pete Davidson. I mean, he's
The
good.
chemistry as well.
Fantastic. Thanks, JP, man. Go catch it. Transformers, Rise of the Beasts in cinemas.
What's your Transformers pose? False trace? No?
You do that.